Hello, Ken-san, konnichiwa. It's really nice to have you here. And actually, I know you are experts on audience. What's the difference between 14S1 Special Edition and the original one?
As you know, we used to listen music with discs in the past, but nowadays people are downloading through the internet.
Yes.
And today what you can have is what we call high resolution audio, no? Very high quality music in digital form. To reproduce this high quality, you have to really have nice player which plays this high resolution music. And then of course to drive speakers, you need amazingly high quality amplification. And that's what we have done on this 14 special edition.
So what's the background behind for having this 14S1 Special Edition this year?
Okay, special edition. First product I did for the company was exactly 30 years ago. 30 years ago, what happened was introduction of a compact disc. Compact disc format was defined by Philips and Sony. And Philips had amazing technology. Technology called 4 times oversampling. But this 4 times oversampling, it's too difficult for normal people to understand. So what happened was, we had this 4 times oversampling technology of Philips together with D2A converter. D2A converter is digital to analog conversion of 14-bit, where Japanese, they didn't have such a high quality technology called 4 times oversampling, but they had 16-bit digital to analog converter. They attacked on this difference between 16 and 14. Because of the fact they did not have such a high technology called 4 times oversampling, they had to come up with something. But simple story, 16 is better than 14 was the story they came up with. Of course, for normal consumer, yes, 16 is better than 14, so they bought it. So all of a sudden, our product and Philips product, we couldn't sell anymore. I was in England, London, we are having lunch. General manager and marketing manager of Marantz UK, they said, it's awful. Now we have a dead stock of 2,000 unit CD player sitting in warehouse because of the fact we only got a 14-bit DA converter. Most probably we have to dump them to the market with 100 pounds. So I said, you guys are not going to do that. What you're going to do is, I'm going to modify those 2,000 units and make it beautiful, very musical sounding CD player. And you go out and telling to the end consumer, we got a limited edition of 2,000 units, with 50 pounds extra. But it's sounding so musical. And I made this modification and then went to the Hi-Fi Press. Hi-Fi Press, they are all flabbergasted with the sound quality. And raving review came out. And this 2,000 unit we had dead stock. It went out in 2 weeks, gone. So this year, exactly the 30 years afterwards, we said, okay, it's an anniversary of special edition. That is why we decided to come up with something very unique. 30 years ago was time of compact disc. Today, we are talking about no longer the CD or LP discs, non-physical disc, but on file format, like high resolution audio, DSD, PCM, this 14 SE SACD player can play back using USB
Even USB?
Exactly. And the USB DAC function of the display make the beautiful music. So now with the 14 special edition, we are celebrating 30 years of special edition with this high-end, high-resolution audio, high-resolution music. That's what we have done with this 14 special edition.
So I know you live in Europe before. So any difference in habits of listening between Hong Kong people and the European?
Put it this way, see, people born in a certain condition or certain environment, of course, influence everything. Yeah, people in Europe, for example, they know classical music very well.
Yeah.
You know? And also musical instruments, which are very commonly used in Europe, like violins, piano.
Yes.
Yeah? And then again, in Asian country, what's the most common musical instrument? It is not Western musical instrument. So depending on the musical instrument, like for example in Japan, we have a very specific shamisen, which is the 3-strings guitar, which has the sound very sharp. So Japanese are very sensitive to the sharp sounding, where Europeans are much wilder. So it makes very much dependent on what kind of musical instrument you have in your day-to-day life. That makes the difference. Like in Hong Kong, you have a lot of Chinese origins. Then of course Chinese origin like erhu, that sort of musical instrument is influenced in your hearing. So that makes the big difference between Europe and Asians.
So for the entry-level users, and which models from Marantz you would recommend to those people, and which can fulfill their criterion, and also that you will consider as a hi-fi?
We of course do have from the beginner's product to the very high end, like I just explained about the 14s. For the beginners, there is series called Melody series. Melody series is very simple, straightforward sound system. And there is 2 items. One is even designed for network, but simple CD 2-channel, which is the real entry one. That is my recommendation, so people can enjoy very straightforward. With the one remote control, you can control everything.
Okay. So recommend a very simple set tips that you can fulfill your idea to close to original.
Of course, as I was already talking about this special edition, it's one of the product which I can strongly recommend. People are looking for real some music across the original recordings. Yes, definitely the one I would recommend.
So for the music streaming users, can you give some guidelines that can achieve a better sound quality?
Of course, something like Spotify, which has relatively high quality. And those companies are now improving their quality and increasing what we call bit rate. So at this moment, Spotify, they offer what we call 320 kilo, which is average to slightly mid-high quality. But if you are playing such a music, like I just recommended this Melody series, which Melody series comprises Spotify, and you get wonderful quality already. So for real streamer at this moment in Hong Kong, I would say not real high resolution, but mid-resolution audio is already possible.
So it's really, really nice to see you here, and thank you for coming.
Nice meeting you. Thank you.